All right, hello everyone. Welcome back to our Hollywood. I'm Daniel.
And I'm Kim.
And today we have with us Glenna. Hello, Glenna. How are you?
I am so good. I'm so excited about this.
Yes, me too. This is a fun topic. So, well, we're gonna introduce Glenna a little bit
But
real
what's
quick.
the topic?
Well, let's introduce Glenna a little bit real quick.
But shouldn't you say the topic first?
Okay, so today we're talking about final girls, and sort of the feminism and how at first they were like, well, we'll get into it. Final girls. That's the topic today.
Yeah.
So how did you meet Glenna? Because I met Glenna because, again, of the short film, but I don't know how you met Glenna.
We had the advanced cinema class together in college, and I sat next to her on the first day. And then I just started talking to her.
Right.
And then and then one day I was like, hey, do you want to be a producer on a movie? And then she was like, okay. And then I was like, okay.
Wait, really?
No, literally.
That was
Pretty
it.
much. That's pretty
Me
much
thinking
that.
there was like a whole ass backstory.
No.
Okay.
It's just because we sat next to each other, and I was like, I like her, and she was a transfer, and I know how sometimes it's hard for transfers to get more involvement into school. You know what I mean? So I was like, I'll just ask her, and if she says no, she says no. I don't really care.
She said yes.
Yeah. I mean, I don't I care if she was a part of it, but I was like, if she doesn't want to be part of it, then whatever.
Fine. Okay. Well, Glenna, if you want to tell everyone a little bit of what got you into film, and then also what you're going to school for, because you're a senior now, right?
Yeah, I'm actually graduating in November now, or in December. I don't even really understand the timeline because it's very messed up right now, but I'm graduating in December with a film and TV production degree. And I did transfer, like Kim said, I transferred from Ithaca College last year because I hated New York. Couldn't stand the East Coast. I had to leave. But I just came in, and I'm hoping to be an editor. And right now I'm just working on some smaller projects. I'm working on Kim's short film that Daniel wrote, and it's a whole process, but we are getting there. It's a year in the making now, more than a year.
Yeah. That's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. Well, also we couldn't predict a pandemic.
Yeah, exactly.
Who could have seen that coming?
Yeah.
So then what kind of got you into film? What made you want to do this as a career? Because it's risky. As we all know that there's a risk involved. But what made you decide this is what I want to do, for sure?
Well, I mean, when I was a kid, I was always so into movies, and I specifically remember watching The Lord of the Rings when I was 7 or 8, and I sat there watching it, and I was like, there are no girls in this. There's 3, but the women that are in it are so powerful, and I loved that. Their presence was just beautiful and powerful, and I really loved that. And I remember after watching that whole series, I saw all these names in the credits, and I was like, oh, there's people that do this. There's a lot of people that it takes to make something like this. And I asked my dad, who does that? And he's like, oh, well, that's someone's job. Somebody does that for their career. And so I just got really interested in that, and I kind of made it a goal for myself a long time ago that I wanted to do something in the field, but I just did not know what. But when I got to college, that's when I decided to just pursue it full time.
That's so interesting. But yeah, the Lord of the Rings movies are sausage fests.
Dude, I know.
They literally are. There's 3 girls in that movie.
There's 3. I can count them.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
It's worse than Harry Potter. Actually, Harry Potter has a lot of girls. I don't know. I was trying to think of fantasy, but yeah, Lord of the Rings they need some women characters in there. Yeah. Speaking of women characters, so yeah, like I mentioned earlier, our topic today is final girls. So final girls is kind of a trope in the horror film not community. Genre. I'm wait, what's the word I'm looking for? Essentially, it's that one girl that lives to the end when everyone else is dead. And there's a little bit more things that are associated with it. But first, we wanted to take a BuzzFeed quiz, as we do on this channel. on this channel. We're not filming a YouTube video. I don't know why I said that. Ew. Okay,
Podcast.
so the
On this
podcast. Okay, sorry. It's just visually for me, I feel like we're filming a video.
Yeah.
So the quiz today is survive a horror film to reveal which iconic final girl matches your personality. Oh, yeah, there's a lot of reading. Okay, well, at least this is easier for the listeners because we don't have to describe pictures.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first one is an old friend from college invites you to a dinner party that he's hosting to celebrate his engagement. You arrive late and the dinner's already in motion. Me. What do? Talk to some old friends, text a friend to tell them you arrived, chat up the guy who invited you, make some new friends, grab a drink and get lit, flirt with some of the cuties.
I would definitely text a friend and tell them that I've arrived because I hate just walking into a place like and nobody's anticipating me, you know? And like then I'm like, oh, I like you have to like navigate through the like it's just a lot of anxiety. So
okay.
I'm gonna also be very anxious, so I think I would grab a drink.
Right, yeah.
Drink.
Like, hey guys.
I will be in this corner.
Yeah. I think I'm going to talk to some old friends because that's literally what I do. I'm like, okay, I know you, so I'm sticking with you the whole time.
Oh, God,
you
no.
know?
Anytime I go, like, anywhere that's, like, a group event, I'm like, oh, are you there yet? Are you there yet?
Oh, I do that.
Are you here? And then I, like, wait in my car. I'm like, okay, I'm in my car. Just let me know when you're here. Because I don't like walking in places alone. It's too vulnerable.
Yeah.
It's like the main character syndrome in my head.
Oh, God, Kimberly. Okay, suddenly, the lights... Okay, so this is like a story. Suddenly, the lights go out and someone screams. What do? Turn on my phone's flashlight, try to find a way out, try and find a weapon to defend yourself with, try and call the police, latch onto the person closest to you, tell everyone to stay calm and investigate.
I'd probably turn on my flashlight.
Yeah, I feel like... Honestly, I
feel like you would stay calm.
I try to, like in my head I'm not, but since everyone else is panicking, I'm like, okay, well I have to do it.
I think yeah.
And I also am nosy, so I would 100% go investigate. I'd be like, guys, it's a mystery. What's going on?
I think I would latch onto the person closest to me just so I would get lost. Because I know I would disappear into the night. Like,
yeah.
Here, I'll read this one. Of course, there's no cell reception and the doors locked tight. Without any communication to the outside world, everyone begins to freak out. You notice a girl having a panic attack. Me.
It's Kim.
I'm the girl. What do? Tell her to get a grip, comfort her, ignore her, and try to figure out what's happening. Try and strike up a conversation with her. Yell at the guy who invited you here and blame him. Have a panic attack too.
Oh my God. That was way too personal.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Would comfort her.
Okay. That's a good answer. I don't know if I would be able to do that in the moment.
I feel like you would ignore her.
I would. I'd be like, someone else has to deal with that right now because I cannot. Someone's gonna die if I don't figure it out.
I would probably have a panic attack too.
Okay, great. Productive. Well, I also feel like I wouldn't know what to do. Like, I don't know how to deal with those things. It's not good. But
as you can tell, I literally had a panic attack right before this podcast, and Daniel was just like, "It's fine."
I was literally laughing. Well, not at your panic attack. It was just at the situation. I was like, I don't know how you got yourself into this. But you were fine, and everyone survived.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm fine.
Okay. Everyone decides to split up and try to find a way out. You walk into a bedroom, and the cute person you're with tries to make moves on you. This is all over the place. Okay, so the options are... Yeah, reject them, you're too worried right now. Politely reject them, you already have a partner. Laugh it off and pretend it didn't happen. Flirt back, maybe we should take this to bed. Or tell them this isn't the time or place. I would tell them this isn't the time or place. What? Are you kidding me? Like, get a grip.
Yeah.
Politely reject, even though I have a partner, I would tell them off and say this is not the time or place.
Yeah, a combination.
I would laugh it off and pretend it didn't happen. Because whenever somebody tries to make a move on me, I'm just like, no, you're not.
Okay. We are having some really healthy choices in this hypothetical
I would just pretend like it didn't happen. So it's like I'm playing oblivious, but not like hard to get. Like oblivious as in like, oh, no, I'm not even thinking about that. Don't perceive me.
Okay.
Type of vibe.
Yeah, that type of vibe.
Yeah.
Everyone meets back in the dining room and they notice someone's missing. What do you do? Look for them, no man left behind. Shrug it off, right? They're probably in the bathroom. Worry about them, but don't act on it. Worry about yourself. It's their fault for leaving the group. Ignore it. They're probably dead by now. Or investigate in a group, safety in numbers.
Investigate in a group, I say.
I think that's what I would do.
No, because they're gone. That's on them, right? Like they left. Sorry.
In real life, not in like a movie.
That's what I'm saying. In real life, you would want everyone to go out.
Oh, I thought it was like kind of like a group talk type of session. That's what I interpreted.
Well, I guess it's
because like you know how like sometimes in Scooby-Doo like everybody just goes off in different directions. I'm like, no.
Oh yeah.
Let's talk about this in a group and then make a judgment as a group.
I think I'm gonna do worry about them, but don't act on it. Sorry to that person.
Oh my god.
Sorry to that man. I know. You come across a girl's body. She's been murdered. What do you do? Run away. The killer's probably still here. Tell the others, making sure to spare no detail. Scream until you can't no more. Try to find a weapon to defend yourself with. Tell the others ASAP, but leave out the gory details. After a mini freak out, tell the others. Oh.
I would.
Yeah, the last one for me. I would freak out. I found a dead rat on my way to the garbage yesterday, and I literally had to walk around my house. I was like, I can't even walk past it. I literally almost threw up.
Okay, let's hope you're never in this scenario.
No, let's hope, I know.
Ever.
I probably wouldn't put myself in that situation.
Yeah, it's a party. You don't know what's going on.
That's why I don't go to parties.
Okay, good. Yeah. I'm gonna put tell the others, but leave out the gory details. And I'll be like, well, someone's dead, but like we don't have to talk about it. Okay. Oh god, that's a big chunk. The group tells you that more and more people are disappearing. Everyone decides to lock the guy who invited you here in a closet because they think it's him. He screams for your help. What now? Let him out. It might not be him. Ignore his cries. You can't trust him. Make a snarky comment because you don't trust him. Talk to him through the closet and try to find out information. Threaten to kill him if he doesn't shut up. Ignore his pleas, but feel really bad about it. Okay, well, I feel like in this situation, it'd be really bad to like go against the entire group because then you're going to end up in the closet right with him. And if he is the killer, like, good luck, Charlie. So I think
I just talked him through the closet.
Yeah, that's safe and you're getting information. I feel like, I would do that.
I would ignore his cries.
Okay.
I just wouldn't want to deal with it. I was like, see, like less people, less cooks in the kitchen. He's in a place.
He's there. He's safe. He can't be murdered if he's in a closet either. So I guess he's fine. It's finally morning and the killings have stopped. You manage to break down the front door and everyone's leaving. But wait, that cute person from before asked to talk to you for a minute. The way I didn't see this twist coming, even though it's a BuzzFeed quiz. When you two go somewhere private, they pull out a knife and tell you it's been them all along. What do? I literally didn't see that coming. Wow.
It's just
BuzzFeed with the twist. No, literally.
Plot of screen.
Okay, so the options are make a mean comment, you're about to die, so might as well get the last word in. Plead for your life, tackle them to the ground and attempt to get the knife. Try to fight back with anything you can find, kick their legs out from under them and run away. Tell them that they won't get away with this.
That would solve everything.
Yeah. I feel like I would make a mean comment. What a hassle. Yeah, what a hassle. Okay, that's the one I'm gonna pick.
I would definitely plead for my life. If this was like a real situation, scenario. I would definitely plead for my life because I am a freeze person. I'm not a fight or flight. Yeah, I'm literally freeze. I'm like,
I would probably plead for my life. Or fight with anything I can find.
Which one did you pick? Okay. Who did you get?
I got Sydney Prescott
Me
from the
too!
Spring franchise.
Ooh.
Wow.
That's so interesting.
Nancy Thompson from A Nightmare on Elm Street.
I completely forgot she existed. We didn't even have her on the outline. Okay, so for Sydney Prescott from the Scream franchise, it says, you're a strong-willed badass. You may not have size or brute strength in your favor, but you're pretty darn brave and quite plucky, we must say. Your past traumas definitely play into that. Ghostface has no idea what he's gotten himself into. Okay. I'm definitely 6'3" and large. So Maybe not the small part, but
that was on a great description, BuzzFeed, on that one.
Yeah,
I feel like usually we're like, yeah.
What did the Nancy one say?
It says, while on the nerdier side of the character spectrum, you make one badass final girl. You know what has to be done to survive. Unfortunately, it took losing all your loved ones to a crispy dream demon for you to realize exactly how strong you are. Ew.
I did not like that description of Freddy Krueger at all. Make him sound like a chicken nugget. That's disgusting.
I had to reread that.
Like, chicken nugget.
Is that accurate? Like, do you agree with BuzzFeed on this one?
I think so. Okay. I usually take a minute to figure things out.
Yeah. I'm okay with mine just because I love Scream. I don't know if I agree with the little paragraph.
Yeah.
But I definitely don't think I would survive 4 movies, if I'm being honest.
I would, honestly.
Oh, she survives every movie?
Yes.
Oh, good for her.
Crazy. Can't wait till we get to that. But yeah, I definitely would be like, if it's one, that's already a stretch.
Yeah.
But if I make it through the second one, then it's just luck at that point. Okay, so let's get into Final Girls and the more specific examples that we have. So a little thing that I wrote about like what usually qualifies as a final girl is that for one, they have to be the last one that survives, and oftentimes they're the only one that survives. Another very weird qualification is that they're a virgin most of the time, which it kind of changes as we get into like modern times and like people get more creative. But they also wear light colored clothing, which I didn't even notice until I was like looking into it, and I was like, oh wow, that's ridiculous. And they're shy and reserved before the events of the movie, and then as it goes on, they're like covered in blood and they won, and they're like, oh, I'm so badass now, you know?
But also traumatized.
Yes. And I think some movies do that better than others.
Yeah.
In the whole PTSD thing. Some are just like, let's not talk about it, but I would definitely have a lot of trauma.
Yeah.
If I went through something like this.
Yeah.
There's so many franchises like that. I mean, there's not a lot, but there's like the Scream franchise and then Halloween. And I didn't realize how long that's been going on for. And Jamie Lee Curtis, she's been through a lot.
Yeah. And she keeps coming back. Good for her. Like she's not over it. Well, I remember her saying, well, let's talk about Halloween first, because that's the first one that we're going to talk about. So Laurie Strode, played by Jamie Lee Curtis, the first appearance of that character was in the original Halloween in 1978. And she has been in almost every single one to this day. There's been like 3 different timelines. She just keeps making them. I remember her saying at Comic-Con, like, that she knows that she's going to be remembered as this character and that she's completely okay with it.
Yeah, kind of like it's a good character.
Yeah, kind of like how Carrie Fisher is Princess Leia.
Yeah.
Like no matter what you do from here on out, you are this character forever. You're going to be associated with that. And she said that she's proud of that, and I think that's why she continues to do the movies.
What a queen.
Yeah, I love Jamie Lee Curtis. Okay, so in this movie, honestly, the first time I watched this one, I thought she was a very boring character. I think definitely the newer movies have like made her a little more interesting. But as a final girl in the first one, the whole thing is like all her friends are drinking and partying and having sex on Halloween, and she's over here babysitting, and that's why
Loser.
I guess like that's why she like deserves to not die, I guess. Right?
What all these problem? Like I think that's so weird. Like I watched that video that you sent about Final Girls. And I was just like, why is virginity is literally like the biggest thing that has to do with being a final girl? Like even in like the newer versions, it's like it's definitely more a progressive take on the virginity, which is such a weird concept in general.
Yeah.
Like just like losing your virginity.
Society is way too obsessed with that.
Yeah, let's why do we care so much? Like why does that like I just don't like when somebody's sexual experiences are equated to their worth in the world, which is what a final girl is, even the newer versions. Yeah. So like that's like my general commentary on Final Girls. I just really hate that. And I think it's really weird. It's definitely dated. Like it's definitely a very 1978 thing. That, like, they did that.
Well, I think as So like the newest Halloween that came out, the Blumhouse version, essentially they were like, we're gonna ignore the 6 other movies or however many there are, and we're just gonna go. This is a sequel to the original one, right? Because it's a whole mess. Those other movies. So they were like, it's okay. The other ones are like, eh. I like Halloween too, but the new one that just came out, I think does the best job of
because they actually
telling the
thought
story.
about it.
100%. And I watched the test screening for it, and it was one of the worst movies I've ever seen. And then when I watched the one that actually came out in theaters, I was like, they did such a good job. Because essentially what they do is, Laurie, this is like 40 years later after the original, and Laurie is a woman who has a lot of PTSD from what happened to her, and
isn't it her brother? Her like
in the original timeline, yes, but in these new ones, no.
Oh, okay.
They were just like, let's pretend that didn't happen.
Oh, okay.
And so Michael was just chasing her because she was there, and so like now he's obsessed with her because he didn't get to kill her. So that's what's happening in these newer ones.
Wow.
But now she has a family. She has a daughter that she abandoned and like mistreated because she was too obsessed with making sure that Michael didn't escape. And now that lady has a daughter as well. So there's like 3 generations of this family in the newer ones. And I think they were like, everything that kind of was sexist and like outdated about the original Laurie and that Halloween story, they built on it, and they were like, well, let's spice it up a little bit and not make it as dated. And I think they did a great job with that. But also, I am a man, so I do not know. I guess from a woman's perspective, I'm sure it'll be different. But I think they did a good job of portraying the women in the story, less as damsels in distress, like the original Halloween movies, and a little bit more like she's fighting back. Like she has a ranch with guns, and she's like, Michael's coming, and she opens his cabinet full of like weapons. Like she's ready.
Yeah.
So I think the original version of Laurie Strode wasn't as compelling as the newer one. And I think that is evident as we go on in like through the years, that like the original Final Girls are really boring and kind of just like they just survived.
Well, because that's how they wanted women to be. They didn't want like women to have like personalities or like have original thoughts. And like if they expressed their sexuality, if they did partake in partying, they were like, girly, what you doing? But it's like, you know what? Let's not judge people for what they do. You know? Unless they're like literally murdering people and being like weird.
Okay, well that's an issue.
That's an actual issue. But if somebody's just let them do what they want, they're like in high school. Let them party if they want to. Please. Builds character.
Yeah, it does.
I wouldn't know. I didn't party in high school.
Okay. Kimberly. So the other kind of earlier example of a final girl that I had was Sally Hardesty, I think is how you say it, played by Marilyn Burns in the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre that came out in 1974. She is so boring. I'm just gonna say it. She is a really boring character. She honestly only survives because she got lucky. So she's definitely an example of a female character that was for the male gaze, 100%.
Yeah, she was pretty. I saw like.
Yeah, and I think what she was wearing to like, oh my god, that sounded so bad. But like,
it was like white, wasn't it?
Yes, but it's also like this like top that like the back is completely like
a backless.
It's backless. So like when there's shots of her from the back, it looks like she is not wearing anything. There's like one shot where she's walking up to the house. Huh?
What year was that made?
1974.
Okay, so that was like right before the final girl really started. Like,
yeah.
Okay.
She was like technically the first one.
Yeah.
That kind of got big.
So,
yeah, they didn't really know what was going on. And I think it's interesting how this movie ends. Yeah, she survives. She's covered in blood, but she makes it out. And like, I think the movie got so popular because of the final shot where she's like in the back of the truck escaping, and she's like crying, and then she just starts laughing, and you're like, she is not okay. And they show that, yeah, she was not okay after that, which I wouldn't be either.
No, yeah.
But I think it was definitely interesting. Yeah, no, definitely not.
Like death by chainsaw, that's brutal.
Only one person dies by chainsaw in that movie.
Oh.
Yeah, it's definitely not what you think it's gonna be. But then when I watched it, I was like,
but when he's chasing her into the car, he has a chainsaw.
Yeah.
So
that's like one of the most famous shots ever. Like him like dancing with the chainsaw, because they're just a fun little crazy family that eats people. You know, that's all.
Quirky things.
Yeah, it's just family things. Okay, so now we're getting into a little bit more of the modern final girls, because I think we're gonna have a lot more to say about these, because I think they're definitely more, they focus more on the character and developing her instead of just let's hope she lives,
Yeah.
if that makes sense. So we already kind of talked a little bit about Laurie Strode in the 2018 Halloween, but another one that I had down, which was I think the first wait, just kidding, this came out after Alien, but the first final girl to kind of subvert the trope on purpose, because that's what the film was trying to do, which is Sydney Prescott, played by Neve Campbell in Scream. So Glenna, you just saw this for the first time yesterday. What did you think?
I just watched it yesterday and I was so surprised. Like, it was really not what I was expecting at all. I think in my head I was kind of picturing it to be a lot more like, oh, just screaming and killing, but it was very empowering. Like, that final scene where you find out that it is not one but two men who were involved with the killings, like, wow. And she gets them both, and then the reporter, like, girl power at the end there. I wasn't expecting it.
It's definitely,
it's like a satire too, like it's very like conscious of
yes, they know the tropes
because it's in like a world where like slasher movies have been a thing. So like they know, like horror movies are like a big thing.
I think my favorite part was just how throughout the whole movie every single man was sus. Like, I didn't trust any of the men. It's like,
like in real life.
You're
exactly. I think that's part of why I love, first of all, for anyone who has not heard me talk about Scream in any of the past 7 podcasts, I love Scream. I think it's one of my favorite movies of all time. I think what Wes Craven did with this character is, she is like literally one of the best final girls to exist. And so I think, I don't know, I just love Neve Campbell. I love how she portrays her. And her journey throughout the movies is also really interesting, because in the first one, she's still not, like, she's the victim in like a literal sense, like she's the one being attacked, but not for a second does she like just let this happen to her. She fights back through the whole movie, and as you go through like 2, 3, and 4, she has an arc. She's like, there's a point where she's like, well, I'm going to be a 911 responder because I want to help other people in need, and so there's, I don't know, I think that's why she's so interesting as a character, because it never feels boring. I definitely think like at some point you're like, leave her alone. And they're making another one, so I'm like, please, if she dies in this one, I'm going to be so upset. But I just think,
I don't think they can let her die.
No, that would be, can you imagine?
That would be so upsetting. Like if she survived all those ones and then the last one, like
all of that for nothing.
Final girl who
that's really cool though.
Exactly.
That's really cool though how they progress her character. Like because I feel like sometimes, especially like with franchises, they kind of forget what happened to them in previous movies, because sometimes like they change writers or like whatever.
Marvel movies.
Anyways, Marvel movies get away with it though because they can let me make up whatever the hell they want to.
No, literally Scarlett Johansson having a different love interest in every movie. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I'm not gonna address it, like how she moved from the Hulk to Captain America, like what happened. Anyways, like I think that that's cool. Like that, like okay, sorry, because I just got distracted by
Scarlett Johansson again. They cast her as the Bride of Frankenstein in a new A24 version.
Guys, stop!
Sorry, I saw this morning. So they announced that they're doing like a Bride of Frankenstein kind of reboot called The Bride, I guess. And it's starring Scarlett Johansson, and it's an A24 movie. Take with that what you will. I don't know how I feel. It's also not produced by Universal. So Universal, and they're the ones who made all these monsters, they have no involvement in this movie, which I don't know. I get interesting.
I guess. I don't know. We have to see how like the Dev Patel's like Green Knight or movie sees, because it's like, and then we'll it kind of depends on what direction they're going in. Like if they're going in like an edgy, like that kind of version, then, but like if they're going in like a,
I think they're going quirky, modern.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Not quirky, but like,
I know what you
more
mean.
Fun take.
Like the modern Dracula one where he's like in London. And you're like, okay.
Yeah. Depends.
Anyway, we got sidetracked by Scarlett Johansson again, but
God, I think that'll be a theme.
What were we talking about?
about
Scream. Oh my God.
Yeah. Anyways, because you said that she ended up becoming like a 911.
Yeah. Well, she tried it for a little bit. It doesn't work out very well, but.
Yeah, but it makes sense because she wants to help people because she doesn't want people to like have to deal with the trauma that she had to deal with.
I also think something really smart about the Scream movies is that the killers in each one are sometimes they're predictable, but you still are like, oh wow. And the reasonings are like directly related to the character. It's not because I do think in Halloween it's a little bit, it's just there was no reason for Michael Myers to be chasing Laurie, at least in the rebooted ones, because I guess if it's her sister,
the motivations aren't clear.
Yeah. But with all the Scream killers, there's a very clear motive, and they're each very different. Especially the Emma Roberts one.
You're really curious to see all of those in a row.
I watched them. Okay, the first time I saw these movies, I watched them all in one night, and then I couldn't sleep because I was like, he's gonna pop out of the closet. I don't think a scary movie has ever done that to me.
Because it's like not even that scary of a mask, but like because of all the things that happen, it just becomes super scary.
It's also the idea
it's really
that,
not.
like,
it's kind of comical.
Yeah, no, he literally is so clumsy. Like he like falls, he trips, like
so it's like I think it's like it's like it's especially with the killers that like are revealed, like it makes sense. Yeah, because they're not like seasoned professionals.
Yeah.
But that's what I loved about it too, was that it was so different than other horror movies.
Mm-hmm.
And just the way that it was written and how they would refer to horror movies and like what was expected to happen, but then it would like go the complete opposite way.
Yeah. Oh, and while we're on that and like on the topic of Final Girls, so at the beginning of the movie, Sydney has sex with her boyfriend and she loses her virginity. Well, actually no, it's like midway through the movie.
Yeah.
But she lives. And so that was like a big thing in terms of Final Girls because
they were like, take that, society.
Yeah, they didn't, I guess, which is very like the bare minimum, but they didn't like punish the character. For
which is the theme with Final Girls. Like literally, like in the first Halloween, all of Laurie's friends die because they are distracted by sex or like drinking or something. Like literally, all of them die.
The Friday the 13th movies are also like, the mom is killing them because they're like, well, they're having sex, so let's kill them. You know?
That's so crazy to me.
Yeah, I don't know.
And I think, I don't know. That just leads to so many like. It's just so crazy to me, like how much movies impact people's thoughts and like morals and stuff, and like how they uphold like really old patriarchal like just like ideas. Ideology and stuff like that, because like that's true, like in a lot of different movies, like not even just horror, like a bunch of different movies, like if anybody expressed their sexuality or partied, they were all villainized and like, or they didn't succeed or something, or like whatever. And like, so that I think subconsciously affects people and their decisions. That's why like I was afraid to like party or like participate in like anything that normal, quote unquote, normal high schoolers are supposed to do, because I didn't want to turn out like them.
Right.
I guess. But like maybe that's just like an us experience because we're like we're really into film and stuff. But I also think it does bleed out to everybody, because it's really you internalize things subconsciously. But when you're watching a bunch of different types of movies that are like demonizing sexuality and like people are not expressing it, and like people that are expressing it are being like ashamed or like shamed for it, or like literally dying for it. Killed. So I think that's why until now, I think right now we're in like a place where like people are starting to get more comfortable like publicly acknowledging like their sexuality and like expressing it. So that's good. But it's crazy that it's been embedded in our society for this long. Yeah, I think, and it really does. It always blows my mind how much movies affect people.
Yeah,
and like going off of that too, like when I was a kid, I was not allowed to watch like Disney movies that had princesses in them because my mom didn't want me growing up with this idea in my head that I needed a man to come and save me. And so when I was a kid, like I didn't think about that stuff. But when I got older, like that's in the culture. Like those movies affected our generation and our culture. And so then I started to believe those things. And it took like recognizing that there are characters who don't need to be saved, and there are women who can take things upon themselves and fight for themselves, and they don't need a man to come in and rescue them and save the day. And that's why I love those kind of movies.
Exactly. And I don't think people understand people don't understand how much representation matters. Like because we're in such like a unequal society, it's just, you have to be conscious about the characters you're portraying. And right now it does matter like what race and like what ethnicity or what race, what gender, their body type, it does matter. It does because people are internalizing that stuff, and you as a person and as a person that's ultimately creating things to be put out into for people to enjoy and entertain, like you need to take that in consideration. And until our society is at a place that like genuinely everybody is on an equal playing field, which like I don't think is going to happen in our lifetime, unfortunately, like you need to take that in consideration. So.
Which also kind of going off of that, all of these women, except for one that's in the honorable mentions, are white women. The only one that is not, that I was like, well, we should also talk about this, is Lupita Nyong'o's character from Us, which is also kind of a stretch on that, the final girl trope. But yeah, they're all white women. And not only that, they're also
like in Us, it's hard because she's both the hero and the villain in a way. Like you're rooting for her entire time up until the end, and until the last moments you realize that she is also the villain.
It's crazy.
I think that's why we need the final girl trope can be helpful if used correctly. Just
like a side note, just like as a thing, like growing up as like a POC and like wanting to go and film and stuff, I think like for me, like it was always really hard to see. It's just like, and that's, I think, just generally in society, why does a straight white woman need to be the person that trailblazes? Like, why is that? And that's because the people that are making decisions are white people and like white men. So they're like, oh well, you know, at least they're white, I guess, but they're just a woman. So like that's what people want, right? They just want to give it to a person that they still identify with. And I don't know, it's just so irritating, like especially because like there's barely, like now there's getting better in like diversity in filmmakers and female filmmakers. There's more up and coming ones, but like I don't know, I've talked about this before, like there's like Asian female filmmakers. I can only name Lil Wang right now. So it's like, it's just frustrating. And it's just so crazy to me. Because filmmaking has been around for what, 100 years, a little over 100 years, I think. So around 100 years. So like, wow. And these people always existed. So it's like,
it's not like people of color, people of different sexuality just came out of nowhere. Like they've been here.
Systemic racism is in everything, guys.
Literally.
But that's literally the point of each one.
Back on what you said earlier about like all of the white people and white men who are writing all of these things. Like I noticed at the very end of Scream, I was like, oh, I wonder if the team that was working on this was like primarily female. And smack dab, like right in the opening or like in the closing credits, Harvey Weinstein produced it.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah. I was like, I have to bring that up.
Oh my god.
I was shook.
You're right, because it was like those Dimension films. Right? That was the name of that studio. And that's why they couldn't make a Scream for so long, because the Harvey Weinstein case was going on. I think. But I think it's because all of the rights to the character were like in limbo because of what's happening. Wow.
Interesting.
I just found that kind of shocking to have like sort of like this rising, powerful, like empowering film for women. And then it's produced.
Do you think he was paying attention though? Because sometimes when like it's just I don't think they're paying attention. Like I think they just have to throw that on there because it's through his company, so like he has to get producer credit.
But also, I don't remember there was another movie that Harvey Weinstein was involved in that I don't remember, but he was like watching it, he like made him change parts of the film. I think it was oh my god, the director of Parasite. I don't want to ruin his name and say it wrong.
Bong Joon-ho?
Yes, I think he directed something for that production company, and Harvey Weinstein made him change a bunch of stuff because it was a little too liberal.
God, I hate him.
Yeah. I mean, he got what he deserved. Well, maybe not enough, but it's a start. Anyway, okay, so yeah, we talked a little bit about Scream. If anyone hasn't seen those movies, I highly recommend. There's a new one coming out. Very excited about it. Also, Courtney Cox is in it. I completely forgot, and she's also a final girl of sorts. She's not the main one, so I guess she's not the sole survivor. So it kind of breaks that trope again a little bit. But she's a reporter. She's investigating the murders. She's like in front and center. She's trying to find out. For a while, I was like, oh, maybe she's the killer, but no, she's not. She just has bad bangs in the third one.
And she got stabbed or whatever, and I was like, oh man, she's dead. But then she came back.
Yeah. There's also a lot of like very well-known people in that first movie, like Drew Barrymore,
Skeet
Ulrich,
the guy that plays Shaggy in Scooby-Doo. Like, what's his name?
Oh my god, yeah.
Oh my god, what's his name? Oh my god, he's like really big on TikTok. Like I was on his TikTok section.
Also the other girl, the one from the party. What's her name? The friend.
Matthew Lillard. I love Matthew Lillard. He's a great actor.
You Googled Scooby-Doo.
I know.
Well, because he's always been Shaggy. I think he's like one of the best Shaggys ever.
He is Shaggy.
Period.
I love those movies. Those are my comfort movies.
I love those movies too.
Oh god, they're so
okay, well,
good.
let's not get into Scooby-Doo right now, but well, I guess Velma and Daphne could be considered final girls. I mean, I guess no one really dies in Scooby-Doo ever.
Yeah, because it's for children.
Okay, well, it doesn't have to be. They should make like a gritty
old Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, maybe not Riverdale-ified, maybe not that kind of CW kind of Scooby-Doo. I mean, I wouldn't be against it. I'd still watch it. Anyway, so on to the next final girl. This one again is very different than the usual final girl. So in 2015's The Witch, directed by Robert Eggers, I believe is the name of the director. Thomasin, who is the main character, played by Anna Taylor-Joy.
She's gonna be so like, because she's so young right now. She's gonna be such a great. Like, I just can't wait to see what else she does.
Yeah,
she's gonna grow seamlessly.
She's so good in everything. Her. Even the new New Mutants. Mm-hmm. It's not a good movie, but she's really good in it.
Okay.
Because of course it's her.
Yeah.
You know, she's just really good.
I think she's just a great actress.
She really is. So
I watched Emma, loved it. Sorry, I'm a stan.
Yeah.
I could say.
I feel like she can do no wrong. She's a great actress.
Because the first time I saw her was in Split, and I was like, icon.
Okay.
Icon.
You know, I forgot she was in that movie, and she's in Unbreakable too.
Yeah.
Like she's in the whole thing. Okay, anyway. So The Witch is essentially about this family. It's like the 1600s, I believe. They get kicked out of the village, so they have to live out in the remote area. And they essentially start to think that there's something suspicious is going on. And there's witchcraft involved. The family treats her horribly.
Yeah. They're afraid of her blossoming as a young woman.
Yeah, that's a big theme of the movie, I think. Yeah. It's sort of she's growing up, and the family doesn't want that because of the time period, I guess, or whatever. Yeah. And so also the little kids in the movie are so annoying. I mean, I know that's the point, but they're so irritating. Yeah, that's like literally the point. And so essentially how this movie ends, spoilers, is the whole family dies. And she's the only one left, and the devil, who is also a goat in this version, but then he also like is a grown thing. Yeah. I don't know, but he's like basically offers her a chance to be a witch and like live forever and have all these powers. And it ends with her joining a bunch of other naked witches dancing, and then it ends with her like smiling, like she's content. Very Midsommar-y kind of ending. And the first time I saw it, I was like, was that supposed to be a happy ending? And I was like, maybe not, whatever. And I came back to it and I was like,
kind of. Sure.
Because yes, she sold her soul to the devil, but she's free from her family.
Yeah.
She's finally able to be herself.
Which is like her biggest like struggle was like her family was literally.
Yeah.
And she was doing it for herself. Like she was doing what she wanted to do.
Exactly. Yeah. So like if
she wanted to
go off, sis.
Okay.
Go off.
Yeah. She like
you want to dance naked in the forest?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
With all these other witches. And I also think, so like, yeah, she's a new kind of final girl, but I also think the concept of witches, they've reimagined it as a very feminist concept, if you think about it, because it's literally about women with power.
Yeah, because literally not all portrayals, but a grand majority of portrayals of witches, besides Charmed, I love that show. They were literally like beheaded and like burned and you know.
Well, like even going back to the Wicked Witch of the West, it was she wanted something, you know.
Yeah.
She wasn't this little good. I'm like, oh, I'm Glinda the good, and so because of that, which going back to the idea of like powerful women who step out of line in the sense are punished and villainized, and I think that was where a lot of the term witches come from. Yeah. Because that was literally what the witch trials were about. So I think the concept of witches in modern stories and like TV and even the new Charmed, which is maybe it's for these audiences, you know, and like how they're remaking The Craft. That's for younger girls. It's not for us. We're not the audience, and I think people like to get mad about remakes. Yeah, but then again, like it's fine.
But I think The Craft is for us.
The original one, sure.
Not the new one.
I do think it looks like the demographic for that movie is children. Well, not children, but like young girls. Just how the original Craft was.
Trying to not accept that I'm getting older.
No, but I feel like the original Craft was very much like a cult. It had a cult following because it was young, like a lot of young women loved it. And so that's what I think the new one is trying to do. So I think I don't know how good it's going to be. I don't know if it's going to be bad, but I think also we need to accept that some movies are just you are not the main character.
You're not the main demographic.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, so yeah, I just thought witches are also an interesting, they could be considered final girls in a sense in some movies. I think
Thomasin. That it was taking place in like the 1600s or something, because you don't see that very often, and like back in the 70s and 60s and all of those slasher horror movies with women who are just the victim, like you didn't get to see that in movies. Like I don't know if you know what I'm
it's like 400 years ago essentially, but we still got an empowered female character out of this film. Also, the dialogue in that movie, that's like you have to pay attention because they use the language from the era.
I tried watching and then I was watching at home. That's why I don't like watching things at home, because like I automatically am like more comfortable going on my phone. And so like I started going on my phone. I looked back up and I was like, oh my god, what is going on? I was like, okay, I gotta pause.
You have to like work to understand the dialogue.
Put on the subtitles.
Anyway, I love The Witch is a great movie. Another example of a final girl, which this isn't the reboot one, because there are 2 Evil Dead movies. Well, there's a lot, but there's the original Evil Dead and then there's 2013 Evil Dead. In the original Evil Dead movie, the survivor is a guy. You good?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay. That was a huge yawn. But yeah, so essentially what the remake did was they're like, we're going to take out that character, and Jane Levi, who plays Mia in this adaptation of Evil Dead, she is an addict. And so essentially what her brother and her friends, I'm saying friends, but they treat her horribly. They tie her to this cabin and they're like, you are going to cold turkey until you are not an addict anymore. And I do think they treat her horribly throughout the movie. And that's kind of the point. They're like, they kind of write her off. And they're like, they don't believe in her, essentially. And then she gets possessed by a demon and starts killing off all her friends. But in the end, she's the one that survives. So she's the villain, but also the final girl. The first time I saw this movie, it scared me so much. And I was also in college. I was not a child.
So it's actually scary.
I literally made everyone stop watching it because I couldn't. We were 5 minutes in and I was like, please turn this off. I can't. Yeah.
I love
Oh my gosh, that says a lot.
you're like so in it that you are taken away from the fact that it's a movie.
Yeah. It's
You're like,
just
That's why I try not to watch horror movies.
no, yeah, and I think it's I don't know if it was the makeup, the music, the contacts she had in, just how it's the first of all, Jane Levi is a great actress. She's the one who's Zoe's extraordinary. It's that same girl. Zoe's extraordinary.
That's the same girl?
Yes.
Hold on. I just need to look at
the
her
range.
right now.
The
What?
range of Jane Levi. What
Wow,
else
that
was
is
she in?
literally the same
Wait, can you scroll
girl.
down a little bit? Oh, Don't Breathe, also a great movie.
Monster Truck.
Okay, well, we don't need to talk about monster trucks, but
Oh, she wasn't Shameless.
yeah. Anyway, Jane Levi is great. She does a good job in this movie. It scared me so much. I was like, guys, we
Okay,
have to come back to this in
range.
the day.
Literally, that's like the opposite.
Yeah, she can do anything.
Good for her.
She's really good at like comedy roles and also scaring me. So she does a great job.
She got that Jordan Peele type of vibe to her.
Yeah, okay. Mm,
I
That
was
was a
just
stretch.
I was just trying to make a joke because
Yeah.
like he's comedy. And
no, I understood that.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but yeah, I think it's also an example of how but also the way that they get possessed in the Evil Dead universe, at least in the original one and in this one, is through her vagina. So there's like a demon
That's
tree.
a theme.
Yes, there's a demon tree, and it's it's the branch.
It's a little branches.
The branch goes up in
Her hoo-ha.
Yeah, and they definitely censored it a little bit more in the new one, but it still is a little too much in my opinion. But also, some horror fans are just demented. Like that's what they want, and I'm like, and it's not. I'm not saying just men. Like, just some horror fans really like. They're like that aspect of the Evil Dead.
They like
movies,
phallicizing things, which like it was a theme a lot in like the earlier Final Girls, like with like anything that they tried to like attack the killer with was like kind of phallic, like a knife, like a clothes, like things that could go in. Theoretically could go inside somebody, which is so gross. Like, why are you thinking about that?
It's
true
men.
though. It's men.
It's literally men. No, in Don't Breathe, because Jane Levi's in that movie too. But do you remember that? Did you see Don't Breathe?
No.
Oh my. Okay, it's not really. It's more of a thriller than a scary movie. But essentially, the man is like trying to get his daughter back because his daughter died. So when he like kidnaps her at some point in the movie, he has a turkey baster filled with. And I screamed in the movie theater when I saw this. My mom and I were like, "Oh my god!" But nothing happens. But it definitely it almost gets there. It's intended. The man is trying to impregnate this woman, and he's like, "Oh,
his own daughter."
No. So
a different girl.
Some girl that broke into his house.
Okay.
But it's because he wants his daughter back. So he's just like, "Let me get this girl pregnant." But he's like, "Oh, I don't believe in rape." But I'm like, "Sir, that is rape."
That is literally
It is not
rape.
your division, but it's rape. It is rape. It is literally rape. Anyway, poor Jane Levi. I'm so glad she's doing a comedy musical now. She has been through
like a
so
complete
much.
180.
Yeah. And it got renewed. Congrats, Jane Levi.
It is actually a really good show. I was not convinced after the first episode, but then I started watching it more and I was like, cute.
Yeah. Jane Levi, we stand. Okay, so another one. We're going back a little bit, but I wanted to include this one in the later ones.
Is it Levi or Levy?
Let's not get into it because I have no idea. So Sigourney Weaver, love her. Ellen Ripley from the Alien franchise. This movie came out in 1979. The reason I put this one towards the end because it's a slasher movie but it's just an alien.
Yeah.
But I thought it was really interesting that the character of Ripley was originally written as a male character. And then Sigourney Weaver, she auditioned and they were like, that's the one. Ridley Scott was like,
love those
that's
moments.
the one. Yeah. Which I think is so cool because
Ridley Scott.
Yeah, I could never see anyone else in that role.
Yeah. She's another one of those people that are like, that is her. She is her. She is Ripley.
She will forever be associated with the Alien movies. Which I think she's okay with. She's great in everything else that she's in.
Yeah.
But she's Ripley. And the first time I saw this movie, I was
scared. And I saw it when I was young.
Me too.
So
really?
That's why I won't watch it again. I'm really traumatized from when I was like.
It holds up pretty well. Yes, that scene is still disturbing. And apparently he didn't even tell them that was going to happen.
Yeah, so it was like a genuine reaction.
Whoa.
The trauma of those actors. Oh my god, speaking of, I saw this thing, it came up on my Snapchat. It's literally part of this, so it's okay, we're not going on a tangent. It was like horror movie actors that were traumatized from their film roles. And one of them was the actress from Alien. She was like so traumatized from that whole experience.
Yeah, because the effects they used and like the things, I would be too.
Yeah. Well, okay, another thing that I was watching, it was like I watched it right before you got here, but a lot of these people that were like traumatized from the movie were final girls, and it was because of the actions of the director, which once again, if you are going to treat your actors like this, don't be a director. Because I guess you could say like, yeah, it gets better results, quote unquote. For example, when
But
the character
they're
went
real
in The Shining.
people. They're not
exactly.
they're not like props. They're not
Yeah.
actual people with emotions that have to carry on lives after.
Yeah. Like how Stanley Kubrick treated Shelley Duvall in The Shining. Disgusting. That movie.
She was ruined after that. Like.
Yeah. Like yes, it's such a good movie, but that's always every time I see her come on screen, I'm like, just my body, like, yeah. It's just, that was just too much, and I think those directors that cross the line, I don't care if you're doing it for art, you are out of control.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say it right now, you are out of control. I don't care how method you want to get.
And guess who idolizes them?
Man. Okay. But yeah, just that was really
also another side note at Disney Hollywood Studios in Florida. It closed now, but they used to have the Great Movie Ride. And in the Great Movie Ride, it's like a slow ride. It's kind of like It's a Small World, but you're going through movie sets. And they have an alien section, and then the alien comes out.
Oh,
and like,
yeah.
I literally went maybe 3 years ago, and I still had to be like,
it's okay. It's very slow.
I know, it's too slow. That's why I'm like, I don't want to look at it. I literally close my eyes. My mom's like, my mom was like, really? She's like, you're literally like in college.
It's a terrifying creature.
And I was like, no, that's scary. If that shit was like right out there outside the window, I would literally probably piss myself. Okay. It's so scary.
Okay.
Anyways.
Yeah.
So the fact that Ripley was so strong enough to be
I could
never.
I'd jump out of the spaceship. I'd be like, this is it. I'm not gonna let myself be eaten or impregnated by this. Yeah.
Impregnated.
Well, because that's what happened.
Everything's super sexualized.
Yeah, and in that case, it was a man. But as the movies go on, oh my god, he gets weirder. Like one of the Alien like sequels, it's like essentially the monster that from the one that we know. It's because the girl, like one of the original astronauts, had sex with an alien, and that alien that she gave birth to is the one from them. Yeah, don't watch the Alien prequels, guys. They're weird. I don't know if I would call them. I think people who are fans of the Alien franchise will like them, and I am. But I was like, this is weird. I don't like this lore. But once again, sexual for no reason, and for what?
I'm waiting for a female director and like full crew to just come out with the most iconic final girl film. Like,
I would love a movie where like every single decision that was made was by a woman. I want to see what that turns out like.
Yeah, they would definitely be a different movie.
Yeah.
Was Midsommar?
No.
Was that Greta Gerwig? That was not.
No, Midsommar was Ari Aster. It was
but he is one of the only white men that has done justice to a female characters, and we talked about that in our last episode.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get into that one then, because that's the last like big final girl that I have. 2019. This was last year. Danny, played by Florence Pugh. I learned how to say it.
Good.
Yes, thank you. Character development. Yeah, she's amazing. But Midsommar. So when I first saw this movie, I don't even think I would consider her a final girl, because I was like, well, did she? It's like The Witch. Like I was like, I don't know if she won. But then when you watch it again, you're like, she won.
She did win.
When I first watched it, I was kind of like, she just fell into it. Like she fell into the trap. But she was the one all along who suspected all this shit going on.
Yeah, I didn't pick up on that the first time, but the second time I watched it, I was like, yo, low-key, she's onto something.
Yeah.
Because she, like, it's not, like, super obvious, which is amazing. I love that. When you have to watch a movie second time to, like, see like the more details, but every time like something weird happens, she asks them, she's like, isn't that like a little odd? And they're like, shut up, dude. You're so fucking annoying.
They treat her
men.
All of the men around her get slowly dragged off one by one.
Yeah, and they're like, I wouldn't worry about it.
They literally gaslight her the entire movie.
The entire movie. It's so frustrating.
And you know who doesn't? The cult.
No, literally, I remember like I kept on like going around on my seat because I was like in like one of those reclining chairs the first time I watched it, and I kept on wrestling because I was so angry by how the men were treating her in the movie.
Yeah.
And I was like, when they kept disappearing, I was like, you deserve it.
Yeah.
You fucking deserve it.
I think gaslighting your movie stresses me out a lot. Like
gaslighting stresses me
the
out.
Goosebumps, those little. Okay, do you remember the Goosebumps show? Like when we were little, like whatever. I don't know whenever that came out, and the parents would never believe the kids, and I would get so frustrated.
Like you're just worrying about it. Because I think because my parents did that to me too.
Yeah.
Because I would like injure myself or something, or like I would like feel really bad or something. I'm like, baby, and then they would be like, whatever, get over it. And I'm like, or they would be like, no, you're just overreacting. And I'm like.
And then you think about it, and you're
like, as a kid.
Yeah.
No, literally. Okay. Whoa. We need to move on. Anyway.
Everybody gets gaslighted at one point.
That's true.
Life, especially by your parents.
Ooh.
Everyone has generational trauma. That's just a fact.
Okay, so to finish it off, I wrote off.
We didn't talk about Midsommar. We barely talked about Midsommar.
Okay.
Okay, so I have a lot of thoughts about this because it's literally one of like my favorite movies ever.
Me too.
Like it's genuinely amazing. And like I was watching the movie, if you Google on YouTube like Final Girl and like there's a video, I forget it's called The Take, I think is the channel.
Yeah. I know exactly what video you're talking about.
And then they said in there, they're like her abusive boyfriend, and I was like, whoa. I was like, I mean, he is. No, yeah, he is. But like, I think like I haven't heard somebody just outright say like he was an abusive boyfriend. Like he was like, I've heard people say like, oh, he's a shitty boyfriend. Like she's in a toxic relationship. But no, he was abusive. And like, I feel like especially men hate that movie. Like straight men hate that movie because they're like, well, like she.
Who?
Huh?
My dad hated that movie.
And it's because it's like I think people are like, well, no, he wasn't that bad. Like that's just like how, like, because genuinely, like Ari Aster wrote that character, the boyfriend character, so well because that is how a lot of men treat their girlfriends. And I think men hated it because they're like, well, that's how I treat my girlfriend sometimes. And it's like, no,
abuser.
You are gaslighting you're being a really shitty boyfriend. And I think a lot of times it's hard to look in the mirror.
Yeah, and I think also
especially when you're being villainized for it.
Exactly. I think what I loved about how this form, okay, I don't want to say loved abuse, but what I loved about how this form of abuse was portrayed was that at first glance, if you are not aware to it, I definitely think me as a guy, I definitely didn't recognize it as like I knew it was awful. But then when I watched it again, I was like, "That's
no."
There are different forms of abuse. It's not always
the first time he came on the screen. I was like, "Oh, fuck this guy."
Yeah, and the way they talk about her with the friend group when she's not around, disgusting.
Yeah, but that's how men talk.
Oh, yeah.
It's literally how they genuinely talk.
Yeah.
So I think it was great on Ari Aster's part that he put men on blast like that. Good for him. He used like the platform that he had to call out and like hold up a mirror because it needed to be said. And like
all the time, like that goes so unchecked. And
so unchecked.
How many guys like that's how they talk to each other about?
Yeah.
And that's bad. It's okay to vent about your girlfriend, but like when your friends are literally just like encouraging the breakup and like I was just blown away because it happens all the time. I've seen it happen.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why are you talking about your girlfriend like that?
Well,
if you talk about your girlfriend like that, if your girlfriend comes up in every conversation and you're not saying positive things,
or defending her,
or like you're just saying like, yeah, exactly. Like you need to break up. Like don't put that girl through that. Don't put yourself through that. Don't further like what's it called? Just put a negative stay in that toxic relationship. Like it's okay to let things go.
Yeah. And I think that's
friends. Like you can
call it your friends
if they're being shitty about your partner. Like it's okay. That's your partner.
I think another thing like about Midsommar specifically was that Danny literally, like at the start of the movie, she loses her entire family.
Yeah.
So she's also not as, I don't know how to explain. She's like very like shy. You know, at the start of the movie.
She lost literally her entire
yeah.
family.
Well, like before that happens too, she's
Yeah,
already
yeah.
like skirting around, like she doesn't want to say the wrong thing to him, which is a sign of an abusive relationship. And so I think the only reason that she even goes on this whole thing is because she was clinging on to this toxic relationship because it was the only thing she had left.
Yeah.
Which by the end of the movie is not the only thing she has left.
And I think it's a really great portrayal of an abusive, not like that's such a bad way
yeah,
to say.
Yeah,
But
that's
like,
what I was thinking.
But like,
okay.
you know, I think it's good
so
because
real.
I feel like we usually see it like being like physically abusive, but it's like, and like I feel like mentally abusive relationships, like sometimes in film, like they're written off as like, oh, it's just joking, like it's just like it's whatever, like don't even like, it's like
they're like it's just a toxic.
Yeah.
It's like no, it's abusive.
No, that's abusive, and it carries throughout your entire life. It carries out through your entire, like literally, you see it every single day.
Yeah.
Every single day. So I think it was great, and
like
it was definitely an artistic interpretation of a girl winning in a breakup, definitely.
Yeah.
But I think it was like really cool to see. I think because I remember when I saw that movie, I came out and I was like, I loved that movie. I'm seeing it a million times in the theater, and I was talking to my guy friends about it, and they were like, that movie was such shit, and I was like,
that's literally what I said to Kimberly after I first watched it. I was like, I hated that movie.
Yeah.
But I also think what contributed to it was I watched it with my family. So I was so uncomfortable. And then when I was able to, it is not a family movie.
I was watching it alone. Like I was downstairs. I was like sitting there. I was like, I'm gonna watch this movie. I've wanted to see this for a long time. Like halfway through, my dad comes in and sits down.
Oh no.
Like at the part where there's like an orgy going on. Like, it's disgusting. Like this is awful. And so I'm feeding into that and like not able to watch it with my own perspective really.
And that's the thing about this movie is that it's uncomfortable for a reason. He's not doing it just to be gross. Everything has a specific reason. And oh god, I love this movie. But so the first time I saw it, I was like, I don't get it. And then I watched it again and I was like, wait. Hold on. Then I watched it again.
Yeah, I think I texted you. I was like, did you watch Midsommar? He's like, yeah, I hated it. I was like, heartbroken. I was like,
she was like, I loved it. And I was like,
so much.
But and I have the director's cut now. I paid $50 for that A24 thing because I wanted to watch the 3-hour version.
It is a long movie.
Yeah, so the director's cut is 3 hours. It's definitely the full story, I guess. I don't know if you.
I don't think you need to watch it. Yeah, but if you're a big fan, like I would say watch it.
100%. There's a whole lot. There's a lot that
it's just such a beautifully done movie. I think Ari Aster is like one of the best directors like right now. Yeah. Period. Like just the way he writes characters and like writes dynamics and stuff. It's so real. Like and like current. I'm like how people actually interact with each other.
I was also gonna add Toni Collette from Hereditary, and then I realized she does not survive. So that does not count. But yeah.
The ending of Midsommar is literally everything.
Yeah. The music.
The music.
And the costumes, beautiful.
It's just I stand that movie so much.
The Midsommar like May Queen outfit is gonna be as iconic as Drew Barrymore's like opening Scream outfit. Like everyone can recognize that outfit without even seeing that movie, and that's what this flower dress is gonna be. Yeah. 10 out of 10.
Okay.
But then imagine like all the work.
Yeah, that's a lot of work.
I guess you could do the one before where she has like the little crown.
Yeah.
During the dance.
I should have spent my quarantine doing that.
Yeah. Like Ariana Grande.
Yeah. But she bought it. She bought the actual one.
No, she didn't win the bidding.
Oh, she didn't win?
No, I was following that story so intensely. I was like, I need to know who ends up with this. But no, she didn't win it. A museum won it, which is cool because now a lot of people have access to it. Sorry, Ariana. I would much rather. Oh my God, we not know how to speak. I'd much rather that be in a museum where a lot of people have access to it than in a rich white woman's house.
Yeah, I love seeing costumes in like museums. Yeah, I'm always like, where are the costumes? That's what I want to see.
Because just seeing them in person. Anyway, we want now that Kim got her fix of Midsommar. Conversation.
I needed to be said.
Yeah. I wanted to mention a couple other final girls that are maybe not as revolutionary as the ones that we've been talking about, but I also think they're worth a mention. Tree from Happy Death Day.
I love that movie so much.
I love Happy Death Day. I love the second one. I love what they're doing with those films where it's like every movie is a different genre. I think that's so good. Also, Tree is very different than any of the girls on this list.
She's very different, yes.
She's
kind of, you hate her in the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely.
She's like the worst because she's the worst. Yeah, I was wondering if like, oh, she's a sorority girl. Not all sorority girls are bad.
No, you could say I literally hate Greek life. I don't care. Sorry.
Anyway, yeah, she's just mean in general and like whatever. But
well, she's just like grouchy about life.
Yeah,
it's not the fact that she's in a sorority. It's like she's just grouchy and angry at the world for taking her mom. But as the movie goes on, you're like, I love her so much.
She's so amazing.
In the second movie,
love her.
Did you cry?
Yes.
Absolutely.
So
now what? Happy Death Day 2?
I need to watch those.
Okay, when I tell you,
it's like a sci-fi.
The second one is a sci-fi movie.
Yeah.
The first one is a slasher movie. The second one is like time traveling and whatever. But there is the whole storyline with her mom. Yeah. I have never cried during a horror movie.
Much.
Well, I guess I have, but
in different ways.
That scene is heartbreaking. But anyway, I love it. If they don't make a third one, I will be so furious. They haven't announced it yet.
No.
He wants to, but they have to.
They have to. I think it's so slept on. So this is our formal endorsement of Happy Death Day.
Please.
It's so good. I think it's such an interesting concept. It's so interesting.
It's definitely not the most
no.
It's been done before. The whole "I'm waking up again."
Oh, Groundhog Day trope is a thing, but I think it's interesting how he's doing it and like same people, same characters, just different genre of movie.
Like how he's doing Freaky Friday as a slasher now.
Yeah.
Really?
I'm so excited. Yeah, the movie's called Freaky, and it's essentially about this girl who swaps bodies with a serial killer. So now the serial killer's in a young girl's body, and she's in this like middle-aged man.
Vince Vaughn and what's her name?
I don't know.
Catherine.
The blonde girl.
It's in Detective Pikachu.
It looks so good. I showed the trailer to my family, and they were like, "That looks bad," and I was like, "You are wrong."
Good. You're literally wrong.
Yeah.
Catherine Newton.
Yeah. Anyway.
She's really good too. She's really good.
She's really good. Anyway, so I'm excited to see that movie.
Yeah.
Lupita Nyong'o's character in Us. I didn't put the character's name because there's two, and I guess they could both kind of be considered final girls depending on how you look at it.
It's like a stretch. Like it's everything.
It's a stretch, but
it's a stretch.
Cool, because I guess Red feels more like a final. Red is the one that was in the underground. She feels like more of a final girl than the one that we think is the real one.
Yeah.
I'm still kind of confused on the ending of that movie.
It is
they swap.
Yeah, I know they swap, but it's just like my small brain can't.
What he was trying to say is like what makes a human.
Yes. I can grab that, but still I still think about it to this day.
Oh, absolutely. It's that's what it's for.
Yeah.
I love that movie so much.
Because I've seen that movie so many times, and I want to introduce it to people, and I want people to love it as much as I do. But for some reason, every time I've showed it to someone, they just don't get it.
Like, you have to show them the YouTube videos after.
Or it has to be, you have to come back to it. Because I also think it's like Midsommar for me. The first time I was like,
you need to watch it a second time for sure.
Yeah. The first time I was like, well, Get Out was better. And then I watched it again and I was like, wait, maybe I liked Us more.
Same
There's so much symbolism and so much going on.
Like everybody had that same experience. Like immediately everyone's like, Get Out is better.
When it came out, people trashed Us. And now
no,
everyone loves it.
Mainstay.
Yeah. Anyway. So that's another way.
Yeah. Like it was a different take on the final girl, which is like we were seeing a lot more in horror movies, and then like the evolution of a final girl is not as cut and dry as it used to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is basically what we get from Us, I think.
Yeah. So another one that Glenna actually mentioned to us, and I completely forgot about this, but I was like, yes. Cecilia, I think they call her C in the movie. In The Invisible Man, the new Blumhouse version. I loved that movie so much.
It was so
I didn't watch it.
different than what I was expecting. Oh, I feel like
it's not even a horror movie.
Oh, I didn't watch it because I think wasn't it out like what time was it out? Like holiday, right?
Rona was not here yet.
It was in the holiday season though, right?
I think so. I think it was like last year, 2019.
Yeah, I think it was December. I think I don't know why I didn't watch it.
It's so good.
Oh, because it was like right after I quit the movie theater, so I just kind of like took a break.
From movie theaters?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I went like literally like 4 times a week to the movie theater.
I would never get sick of a movie. And I bet you miss it now, huh?
Well, yeah, no, I took a break in December, all right?
No, but I'm saying like because now we haven't been in months.
I talked about it many times on this podcast.
Anyway, so essentially what this movie is about, it's like a modern take on The Invisible Man.
I heard it was bad.
No, you heard it so incorrectly. It has like check the Rotten Tomato score.
I know. I think I just heard from people.
Oh no, I want to know what it is.
Oh, okay.
I wasn't like saying like fact checking. I want to know if it has like if critics liked it.
Yeah.
Well, because I remember Kylie saying it was really good, and I trust Kylie's opinion.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So The Invisible Man.
Yeah. Oh, 91%.
91% on Rotten Tomatoes.
It did come out. It came out in February. It was like right when Rona was happening.
Whoa.
Like, yeah.
No, because the lockdown was in March. Ooh, I saw that one in a theater. That was risky.
Yeah. Well, because lockdown happened at the beginning of March.
Yeah.
And this was the end of February. So yeah, I remember that right.
This is the longest year ever. Oh my God.
Okay, you made me doubt myself, but yes, I remember.
I
now remember I was gonna see it with my friend, and Rona started happening. I was like, I don't know how I feel about going out like that anymore. And then I was correct. My suspicions were correct. So
you need to see it because it's so good. It's
in on Hulu.
For the longest time, I kind of wasn't. I didn't really want to see it for a while. I thought it was gonna be sort of like typical, like, oh, it's just this entity that's like after her, and it just seems sort of bland. But my dad watched it and he suggested that I watch it too, so we all watched it together, and I was so surprised at the twist and the way that she's gaslighted the whole time.
Oh my God, it's so frustrating. Especially towards the second half of the movie in the restaurant scene. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what? I was shaking. I was like, this can't be happening. But yeah, I think they did such a good job of modernizing this story and turning it into about escaping an abusive relationship, and how, once again, abusive relationships are a great way to have a horror movie because they're terrifying.
She takes
that is horrifying.
At the end, she takes her power back and she wins. Like, she succeeds, and it's so satisfying.
Not only that, but I think with this movie, they are gonna restart the whole Universal Monsters universe that they wanted to do with the Mummy. And you can tell by the way this movie ends, you're like,
the way I sighed.
Yeah, we don't need to get into that. But the way this movie ends, you're definitely like, they're planning something. Yeah. At least that's how I saw it.
As they should, because they fucked up with the Mummy. So mad. I was so excited about that dark universe, and then I watched the Mummy, and I was like, this is a hot take. Let's stop putting Tom Cruise in as the lead in everything. I really don't. I never was really a big fan.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Church of Scientology, do not come from me.
Well, no, we're talking good about Elizabeth Moss, and she's in Scientology.
She is?
What? Yeah, you guys didn't know?
No,
Elizabeth. Yeah, Elizabeth Moss is a Scientologist. Sorry, guys. Sorry to break it to you.
So is Donna from that 70s show. I found that out the other day, and I was like,
literally, rich white people love. Yeah, they just need something to spend their money on, so they're like Scientology.
They could be giving back to communities.
Yeah, you go tell it to a rich white person. I wish. Why
do the worst people get rich? Like, majority of the time.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah. Scientology is gonna pull up in a black van right now.
Stop! I'm scared of them. Like, genuinely, too. I'm really scared of them.
Okay, wait. Let's not talk about it. Okay. No, nothing. Guys, no one didn't say anything.
Tom Cruise.
Yeah, we love him. Anyways, okay. Another example that we kind of mentioned earlier was Wendy in The Shining. Okay, here's the thing. She kind of
expected to call her a final girl, but I guess she is.
Right? Like, she survives, her and her son survive.
Mm-hmm.
And they survive an abusive relationship. But also, it's like, she kind of just escaped, because she was, I guess the way I saw it was that she was just doing it for her son, right? Because, like, you can tell, at some points in the movie, she's just going to give up.
She has a lot of time. Like, that's a lot of... relationships I've noticed.
What do you mean?
A lot of people should be getting divorces, but they don't because of their children.
Oh,
honestly, you're putting your child through a lot more trauma staying together.
Yes. Danny deserved better.
Danny deserved better.
Did you see Dr. Sleep? Did anyone see Dr. Sleep?
I've heard about that. I really want to see it.
It's so good. It's the director of Haunting of Hill House and like Haunting of Bly Manor. He did so good in doing a sequel to that. And again, it's still about like how the trauma of the abuse of his father. Because in the book, Danny's dad is much more abusive. Like he literally, like they mentioned a little bit in the movie, but he literally broke his arm from how angry he was at him because he was an alcoholic. And so in Dr. Sleep, he kind of like, I guess you could consider him a final boy, but he has his own addiction problems now because of the trauma of what happened at the hotel and also the dad's abuse. I don't know. I love Dr. Sleep. Jacob Tremblay is in it for 5 minutes, and it is one of the scariest movie scenes I've ever seen in my whole life. The villain in that movie is really good.
He has no right to be that good of an actor for how young he is.
How dare Jacob Tremblay be that good? Is that how he says his name?
Yeah.
In Room?
Yeah. Oh,
he did so good.
Oh my god.
I cannot grasp.
Oh
yeah, that was.
Oh my god, that music video made me cry.
Really?
Well, I loved Justin Bieber when I was a young gal, a young lass.
A spiritual connection.
Right, as many young women do now.
I felt a spiritual connection with Jacob Tremblay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So cute. He's such a.
And he's so good.
So good. And then he had that the comedy movie too. With the
it was good. Such a good movie.
It was so good.
But then someone mentioned they were like, okay, imagine if it was 3 young girls.
Oh, that'd be even funnier.
But like they're like when they were like, no, not that part. I mean, like, but they were talking how they were like the kids were talking about sex and stuff, and I was like, okay.
Oh yeah.
I guess that is kind of.
Well,
weird.
girls wouldn't do that. I don't think. I didn't talk about that stuff with my.
Wait, did you watch that movie?
Age. Yeah.
Well, see how like they were like accidentally getting involved in these things.
Yeah.
We're so off topic. Okay.
That'd be fun though, like girls doing that stuff.
Yeah.
Anyways,
okay.
I think just girls doing anything is fun.
Oh yeah, I think any
yeah, girls.
I love like when they do a reboot and they're like it's women.
Yeah.
Here's a hot take. I liked the female Ghostbusters.
That's an episode on our list.
So, it is?
Yeah,
it is. I literally
female
wrote it.
Well, it's a good segue.
Yeah, everyone feel free to DM me about that. I have like I'm ready to fight about that movie. I think it's a great. I
watched it because I heard it was that bad.
No, it's not. The you know who made you think that? The patriarchy. It's a good
movie. Probably. I don't doubt it. Like I genuinely don't doubt it.
Those women are all funny. So you're telling me that those
I love Bridesmaids. And half of them aren't Bridesmaids.
Oh yeah, I was like, okay, and no, but yeah, that's kind of are the Ghostbusters.
Kristen Wiig is automatically just funny.
Yeah.
Is it directed by Paul Feig too?
Yeah.
Ghostbusters?
The way they trashed that movie was not fair.
Yeah.
And now they're like, we're rebooting it.
That's a lot of things with women in it, though. A lot of female-led things.
Oh yeah, like reboots with women.
Yeah.
But I also think it's like how Devin was saying in our Black Horror episode. Instead of giving like secondhand characters and stories, just write new ones for them. And I think that's definitely working better with things like Midsommar and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, to tie it all together, because we got so off track.
I'm gonna get off that track. I mean, anyways.
Okay.
Ignore me.
Well, we started talking about Jacob Tremblay. And I don't know how that.
He deserves the world.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I think the current progression of Final Girls is definitely giving us a lot more. I think the trope is still there, but they're subverting it in ways that are a lot smarter and a lot more meaningful, I think, to the story.
Too.
Yeah, and so I think that we're gonna get a lot more interesting stories with this trope, as opposed to the ones that we've gotten before. Because being a sole survivor, that's already like a good story plot use.
Mm-hmm.
The way that didn't make any sense.
But
I think the idea of a final girl could work in so many more ways if they just opened the possibility of like a lot of these more modern directors are doing.
I think it could kind of go even beyond horror.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't have to be literally people getting murdered and stuff. Like it could be other things as well. I don't know how to explain it. I don't want to reveal my sources because maybe I have an idea and I don't want people to steal it.
Oh my god. Okay. With that being said,
Do you have any closing words, Glenna?
I think you've wrapped it up.
I feel like it's very like yeah, we're getting better final girls. Thank God.
I mean, I think that's the main point, is that it started off with women being portrayed in a very negative way, and now we're at a point where we're fighting back. We have the capabilities to write our own stories about our own experiences, and that's where it's headed. And I think that's the
and let's stop making female characters worth in their virginity and what they choose to do with their bodies.
Because that's a weird trope. I don't know why we started that.
Weird.
I don't know, but exactly. Again, I think like you were saying, like how final girls were originally for the male gaze. I think they're a lot more for the female gaze now, which is what they should have been all along, because they're female characters.
Something else, just like a final send off, is like I liked how like one positive of all final girls is just like the men that are watching this film have to identify with a female.
Yeah.
They're forced to identify with the female.
They're literally forced to. Let's force men to identify with female.
Okay.
Kind of. Maybe it'll make them a little bit more nice.
I think, yeah. Every man that is listening, the 6% of our audience that is male, go watch Midsommar. The 6% of our audience that is male has seen Midsommar.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you, Glenna, for coming on. Where can people find you on any social media or anything you want to plug?
You can find me on my Instagram at It's Glenna. And I mean, I don't really have other social medias, but that's kind of.
Do you have like a Daily Motion with like all your projects or something?
I have a Vimeo, yeah.
Okay.
It's my name, Glenna McGarity.
So everyone go check out all the projects that Glenna's worked on, and at some point our short film will be there, plugging it again every episode. Yeah, everyone be ready. Yeah. Coming this Christmas.
Holiday season coming to.
That would be great.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you so much for being on this podcast. When this comes out, just kidding. You guys, everyone vote if you're in the US. Please.
You should have voted already.
Yeah.
And I will shade
you. are already too late to do in-mail voting when this is coming out, I think. So vote in person, wear a mask though. But this is super important.
Yell at people. Bring a spray bottle of water if people get too close to you.
Okay. Well, maybe you don't have to be that confrontational, but it's a good defense mechanism, I guess.
It's funny.
Yeah. Okay. I don't think the people being sprayed will think it's funny, but
it's
anyway.
A joke, obviously.
Everyone, stay safe. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.